I'm Russ Dave, and you're listening to Ron Talks Tabletop Supershow Sunday. Ring the bell!
Hello, this is Ron Talks Tabletop Supershow Sunday, a podcast within a podcast where I talk about my favorite card game these days, Supershow the game. As you folks know, for a while I've been having guests on talking about various topics in Supershow the game. Today is no different. I have a guest that we've been trying to make this happen for a while now, and I'm grateful that I finally had this opportunity. So would you like to introduce yourself? Who are you?
Hi, this is Angela Kristina. Thank you, Ron, for having me on your podcast. I'm really excited and honored to be here.
Well, thank you once again, Angela, for coming on to my podcast. When we get to the meat of the show, you'll understand why I wanted to bring her on. You folks that don't know about Super Show like we do, I have some people that listen to the show that don't play Super Show or not part of the community, but they're still gamers.
Yeah.
I think she has the most challenging position that I've seen in the Super Show community, aside from the folks that are involved with owning the game itself. I think she does a great job. But before we get to that, I want to talk about your wrestling fandom growing up, because I understand that you were into wrestling before you got into Super Show. So tell me a little bit about that.
So I got into wrestling in my early high school days. I became friends with like a bunch of wrestling nerds and started watching wrestling together with friends at their house, and I fell in love with it. I really liked the storyline aspect of it and the acting and the cool outfits, and the women on the wrestling were like so beautiful and the guys had muscles, and it was like something that immediately caught my attention, and I just never stopped watching all the way until I became an adult and had children of my own. Something that is near and dear to my heart is wrestling. My son, who's now 18, has been watching wrestling since he was a little boy, and it's something that I'll always cherish as memories that we did together as he grew up, and being able to like pass that on to him and get excited to watch Monday Night Raw together. It's just something that I'll never forget, and hope that one day if he has children, he'll pass that along as well. So I've always been a wrestling fan since I could remember.
Nice. So you watched WWE growing up from high school and so on and so forth. And you say that you mainly watch their pay-per-views and everything like that. Who are some of your favorite wrestlers?
So I'm a Boston girl. I gotta root for my boy John Cena. He was one of the first, I guess you could say, celebrities that like represented Massachusetts, and he was everything I liked in a guy at that point in my life. Like, he was cool, he had muscles, he was tough, he liked rap music, and like that's everything that I was into at that age. So when I saw him as a wrestler, I fell in love and have followed him throughout his entire career. Ride or die John Cena fan. As far as the women, I would say Lita is my favorite. She is really beautiful, but she's tough, and I just always like was fascinated by her.
She was amazing. She was a standout.
Yeah, she was just so cool. I
Yeah.
think it was her confidence that really got me. She can walk into a room and just command it without even having to say anything, and I admire that so much.
Since this is a Super Show, we obviously need to talk about that. Tell me a little bit about how you got into Super Show and what are some of the things that you love about Super Show?
I got into it during COVID. It gave me something to do. I think I was like 8 months pregnant. I was scared to leave my house. I wasn't able to see my family or friends. And I had known a few people that had started dabbling into the game, and I was never a card player. I've tried playing some other card games, and they were always really confusing for me. My brain doesn't do well with like numbers and having to focus on 20 different things at the same time. Those aren't the type of games that I enjoy. So when I found out about Super Show, like, I was like, oh, well, I don't even have to really be good at the game. I can like make promos and do that kind of stuff. So that's what really got me into it. Like, I would watch the different promos of people like dressed up as different animals and like having all of these personas, and like it allowed me to be whoever I wanted to be. And that's how Candyman was born. I like to think of myself as like Barbie, and Barbie can wake up and decide whoever she wants to be that day, whatever mood she's feeling. So I'm a really bubbly person, and that's like my Candyman ego. And then I also have emo ma'am, the other side of me, who, can get sad and sometimes wants to be alone. And I have all of these different versions of me. So, like, getting to play a game where I can get into character depending on my mood that day is what caught my attention. So, I started playing during COVID. It was awesome to be able to like play online and connect with people when I didn't have that connection in person because the whole world shut down.
Nice. Okay, so we talked about Super Show, how you got into Super Show, and some of the things that you love about Super Show. I'm a fan of your promo work personally. I wanted to know, like, where do you find your inspiration from to doing your promos?
So my feuds is like everything that I wish I could do in real life, I do in my promos, right? Like you ever have someone just bother you and you just want to like say mean things and you can't? One time I was feuding with Slamilton, and he would always say to me, "Go back in the kitchen and make me a sandwich." Well, I decided to make him a sandwich. I happened to spit in the sandwich. I happened to put all kinds of yucky stuff in the sandwich. But Slamilton, I made you your sandwich. So I love doing just crazy, silly promos and just doing things in them that I wish I could do in my day-to-day life that probably wouldn't be appropriate in society. But it is a way for me to be creative and just have fun. It's my favorite part of this game.
Right, right. Part of Super Show is it's the spectacle, it's the entertainment aspect of it. I
Yes.
love how we could just entertain ourselves, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, like in my day-to-day life, I manage a dental office where I have to be the boss and make tough decisions and deal with doctors and assistants and patients and do all of these things. And being able to just be silly in a promo and be silly with my friends is like a really good outlet for me to just like escape from the real world for a little bit. I always say like when I go to conventions and I go play cards with my friends, it's almost like real life doesn't exist for those few hours or those few days that we're at a convention, and I can just de-stress. I do get overstimulated from all the socializing, and then I need to recharge my battery, but it's a great way to just escape from everyday life and just have fun. Like, my biggest worry is, am I going to roll a bad dice roll? You know what I mean? What more could you ask for?
Right, exactly. I know that you're a multi-time champion in Super Show and everything like that. So tell me about that. Like, what titles have you won? And is there any particular like title run that is memorable to you?
So I have won the Underworld belt 2 times. I've been a US champ. I have won Tri-State Tag and the Tri-State belt. And I've had a shot at almost every other belt besides the world. My most memorable is when Yasmin and it was right before Grand Gathering, and Yaz was the world champ, and I had a shot at the Underworld belt. For us to be able to hold the two top titles at the same time was such a goal for us. She's my tag team partner. Our tag name is She Unit. So we decided at Grand Gathering is going to be a She Unit takeover. And we willed it into existence that I was going to win the Underworld belt and she was going to successfully defend her world championship belt. And it happened, and it was probably the best moment ever when I jumped up and I saw Yaz standing there with her world belt, and I just won the Underworld, and she gave me a big hug. It was just like the best. So that's my probably most memorable memory for any of my belts. And then this isn't a belt win, but winning a CAC and being able to win Emo Ma'am into the game was another amazing moment for me, just playing at such a difficult level and being able to win. Like, I'm someone that was never good at like much growing up. Like, I was never into sports. I was in my room reading or listening to music. Like, I had never won anything. So being able to play this game and be kind of good at it and then start like winning stuff was this like new feeling for me that I hadn't experienced at all in my life growing up. I was never the smartest. I was never the fastest. So it like almost made me feel like a kid like winning something, and that feeling became addicting. I'm like, I want to win again. So I started playing more online, and but what they say is true. Like once you start winning a lot, you always fall. And I did have a period of time where like I literally lost everything I played, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm not the best. I'm not that good at this game. It was just luck." But Super Show does have a lot of luck involved in it with the dice, so I had to kind of give myself a little pep talk and be like, "It's okay, Ange. Like you can't win everything." So, but yeah, definitely winning the Underworld was my favorite memory.
Yeah, and that was a highlight for Grand Gathering last year. And
Yeah.
yeah, it made for a really great story. And honestly, both of you deserved it.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
so Ange, what is your involvement in the Super Show community?
So currently, I am the GM of the LFF Tag Team Division. I was in charge of the Tri-State Tag Division as well, but decided to give that up, and just get some new GM blood in there and see what other GMs could do with the division. I actually started out as a tri-state tag GM, so just running a local belt, and was given the opportunity to manage the LFF ones.
And I said before, you've done a great job. It's a lot of work and it's challenging.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but you won General Manager of the Year, right?
I did. I won it 2025, 20,
Yeah,
no,
you yeah,
2024. Yeah.
yeah, it was 2025 for the year 2024. And you were
Yes.
nominated the year before.
Yes.
And honestly, I thought you were going to win then.
I thought I was gonna win then too. And after I was like, why didn't I win? And they were like, well, you were the regional GM for half of the year, so we're not really counting that. And I was like, you know what? That's fair. This is just gonna motivate me to win it next year.
So, what do you think is the secret to your success and accomplishments as a GM, particularly of a tag team division?
Yeah, a lot, I guess. I mean, if we want to dive into it, like scheduling is the most important thing. You don't want your belts to be forgotten about. So I really pride myself in making sure that my belts get defended every single month, no matter what. And it's a standard that I set for my champs and for my contenders. Everyone knows that the tag is going to get defended every single month. It's an expectation that I've set and I've stuck with. So that's something that keeps the belts alive. If they don't get defended, people forget about them, you know? Another thing is when it comes to making important decisions that are going to affect the entire community as a whole, I never make it by myself. I don't know enough about the cards in this game to be able to decide what is best for people because I don't play this game as often as a lot of the other people do. So I don't know how these cards are truly going to affect me if I'm not using them often, right? So I have people that I go to that play in weekly tournaments, play in locals, and I'm like, hey guys, like, what do you think about this card? Do you think this is going to affect tag negatively? Do you mind play testing it for me and letting me know what you find out? So the president of the United States doesn't make decisions by himself, right? He has a committee of people that he bounces ideas off of, and I do the same exact thing. Every decision I've ever made, I always have people to give me advice and to say, hey, Ange, maybe that's not a good idea, and this is why. And then if I really am adamant about something, then I'll go to Steve or I'll go to Calais and I'll be like, hey, like, this is how I feel. I have other people thinking this. What do you think? And 99% of the time, Steve will say, you know what, Ange, do what you think is best. We could always change your rulings. And that's what gives me comfort in this GM role is that nothing is ever set in stone. I could make like a terrible mistake as a GM and like T50 something or hard book something and then realize I shouldn't have done that and then take it back. There's nothing set in stone. So it's definitely a job that I have not done on my own. I have people that have helped me, and I could never do this without my tag people. Shout out Trey Cantrell, shout out Zach, shout out Bob Dunn. Like, those are my people, and they help me with my success.
It's nice. Something else that I thought was interesting that you put out there was that while you value very much the competitive aspect of the tag team division, you also love seeing the tag teams do things together online, promos
Yes.
and whatnot.
Yes.
So tell me what is your motivation behind that?
Yeah, so my first year of being a GM, I was really nervous about like politics and choosing people for tag shots that other people maybe thought didn't deserve it. And I'm like, how can I choose contenders with getting the least amount of blood on my hands, right? I know how. I will give shots based out on wins. No one can come back to me and say, hey, they didn't deserve that because they won first place. Like, you'll never hear that. So, my whole first year, if you won a major tag tournament, you got a shot. Once I became more confident as a GM and more comfortable with the tag division, and I decided that this year I wanted to focus more on promos because not everyone has the ability to go to these conventions, whether it's finances, childcare, work, whatever. So why should someone be hindered from getting to be part of this fun with the belts because they can't travel and win these tournaments? It's not like tag tournaments are being played online all of that often anymore. So I thought, let me reward great promo work, you know? So Brock and Dave are a really great example. Two guys from Michigan put on the most incredible promos that I've seen in a long, long time. Like, it wasn't just one promo, it was a story with like, I felt like watching different episodes and like what was going to happen next. And there would be cliffhangers. And I was so into it that I rewarded them with a tag title shot, which they're getting at the end of the month. But I'm really, really big on the promos. Another example is Protectors of the Light. They were the Deep South tag champs for a while. But with that aside, they have such charisma together and energy. Like, you can't think of one without thinking of the other. And they were my 2024 Tag Team Champs of the Year. And I have them on such a pedestal for so many different reasons. Like, not only were they awesome to work with, they promoed, they're just really nice guys. But yeah, I just really want to focus on promos this year and just give other people a chance to have their time in the light. No pun intended.
And that's really cool. I mean, and that's what Super Show should be all about. Like
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of this, a little bit of that,
Yeah.
but like not focusing on one thing in particular because we're not other card games.
Right, and I was so nervous, Ron, when I became a GM. Like, there was a point, I believe, before you started, that GM Calais was in charge of every single belt. All of the other GMs, when I became one, were very, very well seasoned people in this game. They've been playing for years. When I became a GM, I think I had only been playing for 3 years at that point. So I was so scared of not doing a good job because of how fairly new I was to the game that I really put my all into it.
It shows. It really does. So let's talk about some of the challenges. Like, what are the challenges of being a tag team division GM?
Well, T50 is a big challenge.
Let's. Oh, sorry. Let me. What is T50 for those people who may not know?
So T50 was originally supposed to be the top 50 competitors that are really, really good in tag with each other. So if they teamed up, they would almost like win every single game because their gimmicks were so good together. So it was only supposed to be 50, but then that list kept growing because people were discovering new combinations and it just had to keep growing. And then we realized that certain entrance cards did the same thing. It made tag super hard. And then there was cards that came out and then we realized certain gimmick, do they focus on one person or are they going to affect both opponents? And it's just so many different things when it comes to multiplayer that you have to keep track of. And this is why every time I have a tag defense, I have a ref because there's no way that I myself, one person, can watch four boards online at the same time. Like, I have to have a second pair of eyes. So T50 tag rules just makes my brain crazy. And then another difficult thing is scheduling, trying to schedule four people, some who live in different time zones, to all be free at the same time for potentially like a 2 hour game is really, really hard. So what I try to do is I try to do my defenses at the end of the month and I'll start like a group chat in the beginning of the month, and I'll just throw out a couple dates and make a poll and let people vote. Something fairly new that wasn't always a thing is Brian Schmidt has a spreadsheet that all of the GMs have access to. So I can just look at the spreadsheet and be like, oh, these dates are open. And then I just say to my champs, these are your options. Can you please pick one? So you would think scheduling would be super, super hard, but with the tools that have been given to us as GMs, it's gotten a lot better as long as you stay on top of it. Like sometimes I have to literally harass my contenders to be like, pick a date, pick a date. If you don't pick a date, I'm gonna have to skip you. Like it is what it is. Um, but I've been fortunate enough to where everyone has been pretty easy to work with. All of my champs have been super awesome. It's more so like my contenders that kind of give me a headache. But besides that, definitely like all the tag rules and competitors and cards are constantly coming out. So half the time, like I don't even know what these cards or competitors do because I don't play as often as other people. So that's where like my homies come into play because they know what
And
they
to be
do.
and to be fair, even if you are playing more frequently online, there's stuff that gets released that is not spoiled in other channels. It
Yeah,
just shows up in random product.
that is very true. That is very true.
So, Ange, where is the LFF tag team division headed next?
Definitely more promos and storylines. I'm waiting to see if more people like try to call out my champs or get themselves noticed. I haven't really been running too many tournaments, and I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm doing it on purpose because I want promos, I want storylines. Obviously, the big conventions are going to get rewarded like Gen Con and Origins and stuff like that, but I'm just waiting for people to promo, you know?
Yeah,
I do
I
have one
understand that.
little thing up my sleeve though that has never been done before. So Brock and I are gonna run I forget the name of the format, but it's gonna be like a 20-person grand battle, maybe it's called, or last man standing. I don't know. It's gonna be like a 20-person game, and the last two people that make it left standing will earn a LFF tag team title shot together. So this will make for alliances early on. If you want to keep your partner around, how are you going to protect them? Are you going to make alliances with different people? It's going to be crazy, but I think it's going to be really, really exciting. I just have to lock down a date with Brock because he's run something like this before. So he's going to help me with this
Oh,
because it's a lot.
that's right. That's the because yeah, he did that thing for the U.S.
Yeah, that's how I got my US title shot
That's how
because
you
I
got.
won that because
Yeah,
I made a couple of alliances and did a little sweet talk and then boom boom.
right. So, folks, if you're listening to this podcast and you're playing Super Show and you want a tag team shot, get yourself a partner and promo, or at
Yes,
least
call
try to
out
get
my champs.
yeah, or at least get yourself in this 20-person grand battle. So, what is next for you, Ange?
So it's funny you say that or you ask that because I actually cut a promo today saying that I'm a little bored with the game right now and I kind of want a belt. I haven't held a belt in my hands in a very long time, but I don't know what belt I want to go after. I currently am not feuding with anyone. I always have a feud and I want someone to like start a fight with me just so I can like promo and feud, even if it's not for a belt. Just someone feud with me. I'm calling you out, Meeple. You know what I
Um,
mean? I want to get back into promoing. I don't have a reason to promo right now, and I'm sad. Like I want a storyline. I want something fun.
so you heard it here, folks. Call Ange out. Do the promo thing. This is part of the fun of Super Show. And I
Yeah.
understand that's not some people's thing, and that's fine. But
Yeah, it is fine. But you know what? We can be fun. It can be fun and wholesome. Like Ron, you and I had a feud, and it
yep,
was great, and it
yeah,
was respectful, but it was still fun, And
yeah,
so,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
that's what
yeah,
I'm looking for.
exactly. And my final question is something I ask all my guests that come on the show. So, Ange, what is something interesting about you that people may not know about?
I'm like super into fantasy worlds in a sense. Like I hyper fixate on different shows and books and wish that like I was part of that. So currently I'm watching Supernatural. I wish I was fighting demons. If I'm reading a book about vampires, I'm like, oh, why couldn't I have been born a vampire? I was recently watching like a Viking movie and I'm like, why do I have to live in 2025? Like, I wish I was a Viking. And like, every time I watch something, I feel a desire to like be a part of that. And it's like super weird, but I can't help it. And right now, I wish I was fighting demons and like hanging out with the angels, but I'm in Massachusetts working at a dental office. So maybe in my next life.
And you are on a YouTube channel where I talk about tabletop games, including role playing games. And it sounds to me
Ooh,
you need to
yes.
play a role playing game.
Yes, please. You know what? I've
What?
always wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons and I've never played it. I would love someone to teach me how, or any role-playing game. I feel like I need this in my life.
Yeah, so who knows? We'll talk about that offline. Well, as we wrap this up, I just want to thank you once again for coming on my podcast today.
Thank you. I was a little nervous. I talk a lot when I'm nervous, so hopefully I didn't talk too much.
I mean, you did fine, absolutely fine. So, where can folks find you on the internet?
Ooh, I'm on Facebook, Angela Kristina. I'm on Instagram, AngieBaby4588. I have a Snapchat. I think that's it.
All righty. And of course, you can find her on Facebook in the Super Show community
Yes.
where she promos and does stuff as a GM. Thanks, folks, for listening to the Ron Talks Tabletop Podcast Super Show Sunday. And until next time, see you later.